Magandang araw mga friends. Welcome to Body and Spirit, all about coping with life's adversities. Sa channel na ito, magsishare ako sa inyo ng mga useful infos about depression and on how to cope with this difficult life condition or situation based on my actual experiences. In my last video, I discussed about disillusionment as a leading cause of my depression. Of course, there were many other possible causes, but let me expound on disillusionment first para mas malinaw. Kapag sinabi nating disillusionment, ito yung feeling na disappointed tayo o nabigo sa inaasahan natin sa isang tao o sa isang idea o prinsipyo na pinaniniwalaan at pinahahalagahan natin. Tulad din ito kapag kayo ay may iniidolo o hinahangaang tao na natuklasan ninyong may nakakubling malaking kapintasan. Nagmistula itong gumuhong bantayog. Ganoon. Gaya halimbawa sa nabanggit ko sa aking nakaraang video, I valued helping others because I believed it was good and in line with the Christian values I held dearly in my heart. It made me happy. It made me feel good. It drew people near me. It made them look up to me. It helped improve my self-esteem. Pero dahil sa sunod-sunod na masasakit na resulta ng aking pagtulong, kung saan salungat sa aking inaasahan ng aking napala, unti-unti akong bumitiw sa paniniwalang iyon. Nadala ako kung kaya't ayaw ko nang tumulong sa aking kapwa. Fear of getting hurt again is a natural or normal reaction and consequence kapag tayo ay nasaktan. Nagkaroon ng negative effects sa aking attitude and behavior ang disillusionment na naranasan ko. Quite often, I was governed by negative emotion. Since even in the gospel where the Lord Jesus Christ cured 10 lepers but only one came back to thank Him, I thought that ungratefulness was really in the nature of man. In other words, parang namulat ako sa katotohanan na walang kabuluhan ang pinahahalagahan kong pagtulong sa kapwa dahil wala naman akong napala kundi pagod at sama ng loob. Ganoon ang disillusionment. Consequently, I started to learn how to make alibis so I could deny those still coming to me of the favors they were asking. I became less friendly, which led to my being alone and lonely. But there was another case of my disillusionment that had a more painful effect on me than the one I previously mentioned. That was my disillusionment with a person I used to call my best friend. Together with my mother and childhood friend, my best friend was the most significant person in my life. During that time, he was all I got. He compensated for all my deprivations in life. Hindi masaya ang family namin. It was characterized by poverty and disunity. I wasn't close to my father as well as all my siblings. It was as if my best friend took the role of my brother. Aside from the brotherly concerns I got from him, we were bound by similarities. We had the same life goals and dreams. Whenever this cruel world treated me unkindly, I ran to him for moral support. In much the same way, he cried to me during the time he encountered a demoralizing problem that affected his family. He was proud of me as I was proud of him. He was a great source of my inner strength. I could tolerate incidents of unfairness and injustices with a very supportive friend by my side. Everyone knew we were best friends. Ours was a case of pure and deep platonic friendship that was based on goodness. One so rare no one would ever think it would materialize. All this having said, makikita natin how one's life can be influenced or affected by the presence of a very close friend. And we can almost guess the void it will create once the friend goes out of his life. When I turned 21, I started to look for a job. Una ako nagkatrabaho kaysa sa kanya. While I was working in Manila, he applied for enlistment in the US Navy. At one time, dahil kailangan niya ng panggasto sa pagre-report for exam and interview, I asked my mother if I could give him my salary for one pay period. My mother agreed. Luckily, my friend passed the exam and interview. Sa amin sa probinsya, big deal ang makapasa sa US Navy. Bigla siyang naging popular sa mga dati di naman nakakapansin sa kanya. He suddenly gained new friends. I read somewhere that the sooner you have new friends, the sooner you'll have old ones, something like that. When I got a chance to go home, I dropped by his place, but he told me he would just see me later. As he said he would come to my place, I waited for him, but he didn't come. That was the very first time in 6 long years that he made such inconsistency. The first had a second time, and I started to be negatively affected, for he even wasted my vacation leave. He was behaving strangely as though I was dealing with a different person. During that time, I was confronted with serious problems both at home and in the workplace. I needed a friend with whom I could unburden myself emotionally, but he continued dealing with me lackadaisically. I felt rejected. I felt unneeded and unimportant. I was embarrassed by his actions. I felt those who knew we were best friends were taunting me. I was ashamed of myself for claiming I was his best friend. Even my father, who was used to seeing him in our house, was intrigued by my friend's sudden change of attitude towards me and even asked me if there was something wrong. 1 week before his departure, he told me he would see me in Manila, but again he didn't come. I began to resent the way he had been dealing with me. Hindi lamang mga bagong kaibigan ang dala ng kanyang pagkakapasa sa US Navy, it also bolstered his self-confidence. It even became a source of his pride. Ngunit nakalulungkot na ako na may pinagmalakihan niya. For a poor person deprived of good things in life, what I thought to be a true friend was my only wealth, my most invaluable possession. Sa pagbabagong ugali ng aking kaibigan, para akong nawala ng yaman. I found the experience very traumatic, for after the incident things were never the same for me again. It affected me greatly. I felt worthless. I lost my self-confidence. I lost interest in things, especially in making friends. A new friend could have mended what had been broken, but I not only lost interest in making friends, parang nagkapobya pa ako sa kaibigan. I shooed away prospective friends approaching me. I stayed clear of acquaintances who were going abroad or who planned to migrate elsewhere. Lalo na yung in one way or another ay natulungan ko at later ay pinagmalakihan ako. Being friendless and working away from my family, I became very, very lonely until it affected me physically. I felt sluggish and always felt sick. My disillusionment with my friend resulted in the loss of my self-esteem, and the loss of my self-esteem led me to depression. Years later, my nephew and his girlfriend had a chance to live with me. After quite some time, the girlfriend applied for a job in the Middle East. When she was about to leave the country, I got a strange depressed feeling, and I didn't know why. Similarly, when I got a chance to go to college and a classmate left for the US for good, I got depressed again. At first, I found the feeling inexplicable, but later attributed it to the trauma I had had. As earlier mentioned, maraming causes ang aking depression. Bukod sa mga major causes, marami pang contributing factors. I will try to tackle them one by one. I will also narrate how I was able to cope with depression. This is Body and Spirit channel, all about coping with life's adversities. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thank you for watching. Until then,